Hello everyone, my name is Webweaver and welcome back to Thank You Heaven. I really appreciate it. So, I haven't played Knight's Try on the channel in a little bit, but you might be surprised, shocked, wilded even, disturbed, perturbed, confused, baffled by my buffoonery, if you will. But I have actually played Knight's Try on my own time. I had had like an hour and 30 minutes to kill on the weekend on my laptop. And so I just kind of decided it was a game that I had installed for some reason, and I just kind of ended up playing it. I swear to you, I pressed the jump button. I swear to you, it's true. Many people are saying this, thank you, Heaven. And I played on the regular old night mode because I wasn't doing any commentary or anything to distract myself with or anything external that might be, you know, entertaining in its own right. So what I did was I played it on the night mode so that I could actually make progress. And progress, your boy did make. And I actually wish I did not do this because, you know, I didn't respect Knight's Try's game, to be honest with you. I didn't know what the full extent of its game was, and I wasn't aware of the mechanic that they would be, the obstacle that they would be introducing later. And I kind of, like, literally laughed out loud when it happened. And I feel like, you know, that genuine web reaction could have been valuable for the channel, could have been a good gaming moment, a top 10 Webweaver moments. But, you know, alas, sometimes it's look who it is, and you decide to play a video game for fun, and then you make progress because you play on an easier difficulty, and then you're like, wow, I didn't expect the game to actually, like, introduce a unique and challenging obstacle that is an innovative obstacle compared to everything else we've seen so far. Now, I don't know if I'll make it there, because that was through a lot of checkpoints, and it's very, very easy to die later on. So much so that the Arc Knight mode seems less like a valid way for a new player to experience the game, and more like a challenge run, which you could be saying to yourself, duh, obviously. But, you know, sometimes you got a little whimsy in your heart, and you think, oh, you know, maybe the hard difficulty is how the game is meant to be played, and then you enter the Super Meat Boy Meat Grinder, and then you're like, ah, I was wrong. But anyways, how have you been doing? This is your regularly scheduled engagement bait. Please like, comment, and subscribe. But for me, thank you for asking how I've been doing. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna proceed to talk about my day now. So, I have been... Originally, it was supposed to just be a weekend endeavor, but I am inefficient. So, it takes me a little bit longer to do things, because I have, like, an inefficiency debuff or something. I don't know. But, basically, over the weekend, I decided to... Well, I've been trying to get a painting setup going, so I could do, like, painting recordings and painting live streams, etc., etc. And for live streams, I'm gonna have to just, like, move my microphone and the audio DAC into the other room and plug it into my laptop. No big deal at all. But for recording, I can get a little cheeky. I don't have to do live footage recording. Because personally, I don't really, like, I don't have to do, like, and what I mean by that, you know, is, well, let me put it this way, right? I don't have to do live commentary. I can do commentary in post. And the reason for that is very, very, very specific of, like, I have to... I think... I haven't actually tested it yet, but But there's just a lot of background noise in the other room. We got domed, like physically domed. There's just a lot of background noise in the other room, you know, because I got a fan. It's right next to the exterior air conditioning unit, so when that's on, you can hear that rumbling through the walls. Just got a lot going on as far as background noise goes, and I could probably figure out a way to do that with like some sort of external mic or cheap mic setup, because the camera that I bought was designed for vlogging and it has a built-in camera, so theoretically speaking, maybe if I got that like fluff attachment to it, it could maybe do something. But I don't know. I need to test the microphone setup on that camera a little bit more. Because I actually haven't tested out anything like that when it comes to recording. Because I'll admit, I was a little closed-minded. I just wrote it off immediately. I'm now thinking to myself, yeah, I never did try that out. I was just kind of messing around with the actual video settings. Which, you know, maybe I should give it a go. Like, you know, worst case scenario, it's what I already expected, which is bad, and then I don't use it. But best case scenario, it's usable. And if it's usable, like, let's say it's usable, but you don't want to, like, listen to that for, like, an entire video, you could definitely do, like, some things in live and some things in post. It could be a combination, you know, don't rush to conclusions before you try something out, you know? And maybe I could just turn the fan off, turn the air conditioner off. Wouldn't be that bad. It's not like the air conditioner helps that much in the first place, to be honest with you. I shouldn't say that. I would die without the air conditioner. But we're gonna go back. Don't worry. I'm not greedy. After the first 4 hit, you can probably just go for it, right? You can probably just jump. You can probably just jump it, yeah. But, you know, I've mostly just been doing that and trying to get things organized. Still thinking about the glove situation, because, I mean, like, okay. Is a hand reveal the worst thing of all time? Not really. Like, I could probably live with a hand reveal, but I don't really want to do a hand reveal, you know what I mean? Like, I'd rather not. I would rather just get, like... Is it too much to ask for? Like, I don't know if they make, like, artist gloves or whatever, where they're just gloves, but they're, like, they don't impede you using a brush, and they're comfortable to wear for long hours. I know there's, like, those, anti-smudge gloves that you can get for, like, tablets, but, you know, that kind of defeats the purpose if I didn't want to do, like a hand reveal, you know what I mean? Because those have, like... But, like, a full glove made of that material, is that too much to ask for? I don't know, maybe, like, a Halloween costume would genuinely be, like, a good bet. Oh, we don't have any momentum, bro. We need more momentum. This one's always janky, because, like, if it feels right, and you just go. But if it feels wrong, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna die. Like, I'm gonna go to hell. Like, look at this. Like, this, that's bad. You don't go there. But you do a little bit of this. You slide in like that. You build up some momentum. That feels pretty good. Then you get enough momentum to just full send it here. And then you're right there. I don't know what to tell you, but sometimes when you're on the airstreams, it feels like abysmal dog shit, and you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna fall to my death and die. And then sometimes it's like, I'm riding the waves of the air. The oxygen is carrying me forward. And I don't really know. I don't really know what to tell you. I don't have a technique for that. And when I was playing this game on my own free time, I was on the Knights mode, so I was through here in like 5 seconds, man. I got to do that like twice. I got it on my second try. My second Knights try. But I've also found, like, some cracked tech for this. Not really, I just think it's kind of cool. Not this part, I can still die here easy, but, like, the skeleton part. I think it's kind of cool. It's more useful for one specific part, and you'll see what I mean maybe. But yeah, so the goal really is, because I'm not really worried about the audio setup, because I got foam I can put up, because there's this, right? Like, you can do this, and then you can see, like, all the skeletons chasing you. It's pretty cool. But, this is where you can really use it. So I always complain about that one. You know, I can never see it. But if you do something like this, then you have it in your vision at all times. And then you can just do it like that. Ain't that pretty cool, huh? I think that's pretty fly. I think that's pretty sly, even. Now, is it Cooper? Eh, probably not, but... Hello, dog. She was sleeping earlier, but now she's gaming? She's balling? Oh my god, that guy snuck all the way over there? Homie was gonna tackle me when I entered the goddamn gates. Alright, that's fine. That's just great. Like, that's just excellent. Oh my god, they're going, dude. Now, you could just one-cycle this and not have to care about these skeletons, but I don't know. I like having multiple tries, as it were, you know? That part in the inherently risky platformer game where they give you a section where you can recover from most of the time and then try and try again. Sounds good to me. But, yeah, I'm not too worried about the audio setup because, you know, worst case scenario, I got foam that I can put up. I can just move my audio deck. I can just move my regular microphone. It's totally cool. You know, we're not gonna even, like, I mean, listen, buying a camera like this, even though it was used and it was a really good deal. I mean, here's the thing. Ooh, whoops. It wasn't really, thank you, Heaven, that good of a deal, because it was just the camera with no accessories, so you are saving a lot of money, but you do have to buy all of the accessories, and if you're buying, like, third-party accessories, then it's not so bad, because you're still ending up saving, like, multiple hundreds of dollars, right? Because, like, the camera itself is, like, massively discounted in exchange for the fact that you are only buying the camera body and nothing else. Well, you're buying the lens, too. That was something that I didn't really expect, is, like, a lot of used cameras, they don't come with the lens, which, to me, I feel like you should probably, like, give them the lens. That is the worst camera angle of all time, by the way. Thank you, Heaven. But, hold on, you better lock in. Yeah, you gotta lock in real quick. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're good. We're good. We're good. I guess it makes sense, though, because you can use different lenses on different cameras, so you might buy a camera that comes with a lens, and then you're like, oh, yeah, this lens is awesome. And then you get rid of, and then you offload the camera to somebody on eBay, and they just buy the camera body, because they've already got their own lenses as well, so that makes sense. But this is my first camera. Well, okay, that's not true. But this is the only camera that I have, so it just, you know, it ends up working. Now, this is also a pretty dog shit camera. But you can kind of just have the whole picture in the back of your mind, and by in the back of your mind, I mean in front of your eyeballs. And I think that makes it, it makes it more consistent for me. It makes it, I like it a lot more doing it like that, but I think lighting also, like, I don't, like, it wouldn't be the worst thing to get another desk lamp. And the one that I recently bought, it was the Game Envy one. I bought the Game Envy Lucent, or whatever it's called. That's the first time that's got me, dude. Is Greed good? I think Greed is great, honestly. It's the last try. Ho, 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 ho. Don't worry, we clutch these. We clutch these 100. 100, 100. But, the thing is, right? I wouldn't mind getting another Lucent lighting thing, because they're bundled, they come in bundles of 2, so that makes sense to me now after I have one. So I wouldn't mind getting another one, because they're really nice, they really are. And the brightness control, the lighting control, they really are just, like, very nice lights. So I don't think that I could, complain about just having one. But I feel like for the picture quality, because, like, I did a test recording before I got the light, and I was just using my old lamp. And my old lamp is, like, my friend gave it to me for free, so I'm never gonna, you know, you can't argue with free. Like, free is free. Free is immaculate. You can never argue with the price of free. At least most of the time, all right? Like, if somebody punches you in the face for free, you know, that's not... Like, listen, we've never gotten hit by them before, so let's never get hit by them again. You thought I was gonna get hit again, didn't you? I know my timings. Kind of. Not really. But I've been in the Knight's truck. Ooh! Okay. I'm not taking any chances with little homie Rutsu, alright? I want him dead. He's beginning to believe. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. Alright, rip bozo, buddy. Okay, that scared the shit out of me. I knew it was possible, but I didn't want to imagine that it would happen to me, you know? I didn't want to think about that. But, like, just, like, having the desk lamp that my friend gave me for free, that was decent enough to hobby with, like, not the best. Like, definitely you could complain about it, and there were problems with the amount of light that setup put up, but it was workable, and I think that's what counts, right? Like, it was something that worked, but these like, Game Envy Lucent lights or whatever, oh my god. Like, what do I even say? They're really, really good. Like, they're really good. So, at least in my opinion, like, one is more than enough to do, like, your hobby. I'm pretty sure, because the angles that you can put them at, the lighting that you can do is really, really nice. But for the purposes of filming or taking photos, having a second one would be like, dude, you know, like, dude. It would be a game changer. Alright, I want to go as it's raising, I think. Because then it'll come down, like, right here. But it'll raise when we get to this point. Hell yeah. And then for this part, I think we can just chill here. And then we can just... I tripped over the corner. I tripped over the corner. I put my toe over the corner. It got a little smooshed. I said, ouchie, and then I went down. I mean, I did literally jump there. Just I didn't jump high enough. But yeah, that Lucent Game Envy light, literal game changer. I think it's honestly better than the old light that I used to have. That was greed. You can say greed for that one, for sure. But I definitely do think that if I got a second one, it would drastically improve the video quality. Because it's all about the lighting, you know? It's all about having the proper light setup for the things that you're trying to do. Oh, no. Alright, we can do this. We can do this one. Totally! That was maybe a little bit more complicated than it had to be. Alright, so we want it to go down. Okay, it's going down. Alright, so go down, and then as it's going up, we want to start running. This is going to be a little bit cursed, but I think it still works. I think it still works. Trust in the process, trust in the process. So we can just kind of hang out here. And then we can kind of just hang out here. And then we can just go. And then for this part, you know, you're in the goddamn pits of hell. But we got a good cycle here, so we're not gonna die there. And all we have to do is hit the corner here. Beautiful. This will work perfectly. This will work perfectly. And then you can just go, and then we're good. We did it. We haven't been back here in like 2 or 3 episodes, man. That's pretty cool. And just in 20 minutes? Don't mind me if I do. But I think... So here's the thing. A live stream, that's like, you gotta move your audio equipment over. That's a little bit more of an event. Because if I want to do something like that, then I, A, need to have my hobby stuff. I need to have my YouTube stuff already taken care of. Because you don't want to have to move your audio equipment twice in one day. You know, I don't want to move my microphone stand. I don't want to move my mic. Alright, let me lock in here real quick. We can get to the second one. We can get to the second one. Greed is good. And then there we have it. Officially new content for you, but not for me. This tower is really forgiving, but I still find ways to innovate and die on it. So, cut me a little slack, okay? But, especially there's a really messed up part here, in the future. that happens a lot. You don't die, but that happens a lot. But I think for recording a video, if you do the commentary in post, you could probably do that a lot more often, because all that requires is me to, like, record, like, charge the camera, record, and then, like, add a post commentary afterwards. Which is still more work than I do on a normal video, but I definitely think it's way more doable. And then we could do like a special event where we do like a painting live stream every once in a while. But the thing is, like, you don't want to be redoing your audio setup. This is the messed up jump, by the way. You don't want to be redoing your audio setup multiple times a day, mainly because it's just like, you know, you got to move all the cables, you got to move the microphone stand, you got to move the microphone, you got to move the audio DAC, you got to adjust the settings between computers to make sure everything works out. So that would be more like a special event, and also something where I'm like, I have to make sure I don't have anything planned, and I don't need my microphone setup back, you know? Oh, whoops. I completely thought the scythe was in a different place than it actually was. But no, I'm gonna... When I made it past that spinning windmill of death thing, it was pure luck. Like, I don't have a consistent way to do that, and when I got through it on my Knight's playthrough, or my Knight playthrough, it was like... Yeah, I was just complete luck. So we're probably going back to the beginning very shortly, because this is a son of a gun, you know? This is a pretty devious... Oh! Tapped my head. And then I got domed. But if you make it past that middle section there, it's really consistent to get to the top from there. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I am. Now you might be asking yourself, well, you talked about how you had like a tablet. This is a very me-focused episode, you know? Normally I'm like ranting about the dangers and the degeneracies of like Party Finder or some inherent evil of I don't know, Final Fantasy 14. We could go back to that if you wanted to. If you want me to, we can definitely go back to that. But I don't know, you know, a lot of the QA stuff that I've done, you get that shit, you get that shit on NDA, so you can't really talk about it. And also, I don't want to talk about real life stuff anyways. Unless it's like video game related or like hobby related, in which case it's like, so true, bestie, so true. I'm back to my house, I'm back to my home, this is where I belong. But, yeah, no, I think that, the live streaming stuff could be really fun, but something that would not require me to change my audio setup, and this is where I'm going with this, before I started talking about me being a narcissist, is, we could, if I felt... One of the things that I'm getting back into, and listen, it's baby steps right now. I am a weird kind of person when it comes to motivation. I either have to force myself to do something, but I could only do it for like 30 minutes to an hour, and I don't really feel like I learned much. Or I can do, it has to be like the spur of the moment, like I have a passion to do this thing, and then I can do it for like 2 weeks nonstop and not care, right? And feel like I'm cracked, you know? Like I'm cracked out of my goddamn gourd. I don't know how we just did that, but that was magic to me. That was like the most magical thing I've ever seen happen in this game. The hardest contraption. The most devious blades known to mankind, known to knight's kind. And the thing is, I still say that those blades are the worst, because those are the blades that just killed me. In the windmill of death. Hello, dog. You should not be barking. You should not be barking. It's way too late for you to be barking. Why are you going to the window, dog? Please no. You determine the timeline, the future timeline of whether or not this video has a pause. She is over there. She is being menacing. But are we ever gonna do like a Blender live stream? I think that it's definitely not impossible as I get back into it. Because sometimes it can be fun to just sort of like go through the motions of something and then like chat to chat, I suppose, while you're doing it, but I don't know, I'm getting like self-conscious right now because the Nights Try episodes sometimes bang and they get like 500 views and like 90% of the people who watch are not subscribers. And it's like, well, you know, if you're doing that, you probably don't want to hear some guy talk about how he wants to, like, you know, paint things and do Blender. You know, that's not really a storyline that you can be invested in, but you know, you gotta look at it from the perspective of the average viewer. And by the average viewer, I suppose I mean the average subscriber, I suppose. And not the average viewer if this video bangs and gets like 500 views for no reason. Like, you gotta think about it. Hello, dog. You wanna come back up on the chair? No? Okay. Goodbye. If she wants back up on the chair, I'll let her back up on the chair, but Alright, we're good, we're good, we're good. Perfect line. Perfect line. You've never seen a line better than this. But like, if you look at it from the perspective of, say, somebody who's watched like, I don't know, 800 World of Horror episodes, and then like maybe 2 side series, you're probably like, oh yeah, I remember 2 years ago when you made that Blender donut. Or like, oh yeah, I remember that you posted you made like a form post on the Discord server that contained some minis you were painting, and then you said that you know, if you didn't paint more minis in a timely fashion. Oh, thank you, Heaven. I really appreciate it. That if you didn't paint more minis in a timely fashion to bully me. I remember that. You know? If there's that kind of Andy watching this video, that the anecdotes are tailored to them. They're invested in the storyline. They're not listening to some... They're more invested in that storyline than they are about some psychopath ranting about people being bad at video games in Final Fantasy XIV. I don't know. Is it weird that I just feel like the movements that I do here kind of like tilt the luck in my favor, but maybe not like are consistent enough to be considered strategies that you'd want to employ? Does that make sense? I'm gaming here. You never would see a gamer this good. And the reason why you'll never see a gamer that good is because all the gamers that good died right there on the cannon. Oh, my controller? Thank you. The controller interrupted the cannonball RNG. I see that one coming in from the right side. And they're right, not our right. Like, the cannonball's coming in from our left, but, you know, from the cannon POV, it would be from their right. Sorry, you gotta think about stuff like that when you're Final Fantasy XIV rating, because it'll say, like, you know, right punch, and then the boss is punching from their right, not your right. Is that brainworms? Yeah, probably. But I don't know, you said something earlier about wanting me to rant about Final Fantasy XIV some more. So, let me see what I can cook up. Let me see what I can cook up, okay? You've listened to 30 minutes of narcissism about things that I hope to do in the future, but it's questionable about whether or not I'll actually do them. Oh, God! We slid across that floor like a goddamn clown/janitor cleaning the floors in goddamn Space Station 13, so when you walk outside the room, you just slip on the glossy floor and you get put out the goddamn airlock. Yeah, I know cinema. I was really bad at it, but I played a game of Space Station 13, and I remember what ended up happening is I ended up getting trapped in a room. And I didn't know how to get out of the room, and it turns out that somebody locked me in that room, and I didn't have the credentials to get in to, like, I didn't have the credentials to leave the room, because it was, like, locked through authorization or something, and I kept trying to get people's attention so they could get me out, and then I got questioned as to why I was in the room, and I was like, somebody led me in here, and then they closed the door behind me. And then they were like, yeah, sure, buddy. You're probably just some new... Because they had the new player designation on me. Like, yeah, you probably just, like, somehow got in here, and you're trying to act, like, clueless or whatever. And they didn't believe me. And so they left me in the room. Because I was just an assistant. I was just a helper. And then horrible shit went on in the station, and I saw people, like, outside the window of the room just getting, like, mauled by monstrosities. And then, like, the fucking... Oh, excuse me. No, you get one. You get one. And then the goddamn, like, kill squad came in, and they, like, fought the... I think it was some sort of, like, xenomorph knockoff. But it could have been, like, it was some sort of alien menace. And then a wizard flew down the hallway and, like, blew people up. And inevitably, I eventually got out of the room. And then I went to the bar, and I just kind of, like, hung out at the bar until the evacuation thing, like, the evacuation shuttle was called. And then I saw some aliens rampaging down a hallway, and I hid in the church. And somehow... if you can believe it, I made it to the evacuation shuttle. And then I never played the game again. Because I was trapped in a room for like 40 minutes. I got to see some people die. And then I managed to go to the bar, have a smoke, and then listen to somebody play piano, and there was a wizard running around killing people, but the wizard didn't kill anybody in the bar. That was nice. And then we just got on the escape shuttle and we left. But yeah, no, that's an experience that I had. I think I don't think, okay, if you had a group of people, like a private server, like a friend group, who all learned how to play Space Station 13 together, and you had, like, you know how people have, like, Among Us or Lethal Company nights? You had, like, Space Station 13 nights? I think it would be, like, the most enjoyable game of all time, because it's like those games, but it has way more chances for people to do insane bullshit. Delay, hold, go, go. Sell, bye. But it's a very complicated game, and getting it set up is a very difficult thing. And by that, I mean, the Beyond engine is, like, really old. It's really old. And it's really janky. And then, like, playing the game is also really janky. Like, you have to have, if you're new, like, a goddamn Wikipedia page open with all of the controls. And then the controls might be slightly different based on the custom server that you join. Or at least there might be, like, the options or, like, the things that you press might do different things depending on the custom server you're in. That probably makes more sense to say. I mean, sniper lock-on accuracy. What can I say? They had my number. They got me. I got. I don't think there's a safe. I don't think there's a safe place to hide there because the grates are translucent. They're transparent. The cannonballs can fit right through them. So, at least in my opinion, I don't really know what you want from me. I will say, though, that I would like to find some, like, cheap audio solution, if possible, that sounds halfway. Same thing that happened. They got my number. They locked on. I don't know what you want from me. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think there's a place you can hide over there. You either have to, like, dodge them manually, or you gotta send them to hell, but I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna run and gun. We're just going. Now we're gonna go. You hold there, and then you get obliterated off of the face of this earth, and you've got one night's try to go. You Arc Knight. You devious Arc Knight, you devious, dastardly Arc Knight. I think we can do it. I believe. We're going. I'm locked in. I'm so scared. Because, like, something that is, you know, important to me is doing the commentary bit live, you know? I'm a big commentary live Andy. We hold. Go. And then we're probably fine. I mean, we've been domed a couple of times, but you can't really... when you're moving that high of speeds in those... Like, I suppose, if you want to think of it, for the most part, we're moving in, like, a horizontal axis for dodging the first round of cannon fire. But during that, we're essentially moving in a... I can't really say vertical axis, because we're not really going up or down. I mean, we are increasing on the elevation, don't get me wrong, but... I don't know, I just think it feels a little bit crazy. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. But we're getting back into the groove of things. We're getting back into the groove of things, you know? Getting back into the Arc Knight tries of things, you know? It's look who it is. Now, I will be honest with you. I haven't really got many Final Fantasy 14 anecdotes. We're going. I believe. No! We worked. It did it! Yippee! But I don't really have a lot of Final Fantasy 14 anecdotes for you because I just kind of got demoralized in Party Finder. And I just kind of stopped, like, raiding in Party Finder because it sucks. Like, it's doable. It just feels like, okay, I am trying to respect my own time more and make more of the time that I've got. That's, like, one of the things that I'm trying to do. And so, just going into an instance like that, and you just sort of get into this situation where you're wasting like 9 hours of your life because, like, here's the thing. If there's a way to improve, better yourself, or progress, I don't think that it is a waste of your time to do it, right? Like, I genuinely believe that from like a... We're trying new tech here, huh? I think we're dead. But what if we were more back than we've ever been before? I was trying to leave it early so that hopefully we wouldn't die, but I think you can just full send it. Nah, you can't full send that. Try full sending this, though, and call me in the morning. Now that is that's a nice go-around, is it? But yeah, I feel like if there's a way for you to improve or work on yourself, then you are not wasting your time. But the problem that I have is that, like, I am not a gold parser, okay? I am a pictomancer who struggles to fit all 9 GCDs in the burst window because I'm bad at the video game, okay? And so, I am, like, when I don't die, I get blues. So I'm happy with that. That's better than I could expect for playing a DPS job for my first ever Savage tier, you know? And especially something so heavily competitive as Pictomancer, where, like, everyone is playing Pictomancer. The fact that I'm getting blues above 50s when I'm not dying. When I'm dying, I'm getting grays and greens, but, you know, that's, like, you can't really do anything about that when your team doesn't mitigate and you already used your mitigations on the last raid wide, so you just instantly die at full health. You know, there's nothing you can really do about that. That's not really my fault. That's not really a skill issue on my end, because if I didn't use my personal mitts on the 2 raid wides that just happened, then I would have died at full health on those 2 raid wides. So, you know, not really. I don't really think that's a krill issue on my part, personally. But, you know, I'm I'm a blue parsing Pictomancer, which I think for somebody who's never done a Savage tier as a DPS before, I think that's rather good. I can't really complain about it. This is bad. This is bad. This is bad. Yippee! I don't know why. I just like... We're in the valley. We're in the valley of death. We're in the valley of death. They're alligators. No! We were just prolonging the inevitable on that one. But, yeah, no, there's just, like, how do I put it? If I am sort of at my, like, natural peak as a Pictomancer, and I would have to, like, explicitly push myself really hard to get better and improve, like, that's something that I want to do eventually, but it's not something that I'm trying to focus on right now when I'm trying to, like, prog and clear the tier, you know what I mean? Like, I definitely think that... Well, okay, let me put it like this, right? I do want to push myself and try to become a genuinely really good Pictomancer, but with how low the damage requirements are for this tier, somebody who is doing like 50 plus parses on Pictomancer, that's more than enough. And the reason I know this is because I've had runs where my team had multiple deaths, and I was one of those multiple deaths. That was ill-fated. That was ill-fated. I should have sent it a try earlier. But, like, I was one of those deaths, and I was dead for a while, too. Like, I wasn't instantly swift raised. No, it took a hot minute. Oh, God. I'm back home. In the relaxing place where I belong. Thank you, Heaven. I really appreciate it. You know, like, there's not really... The incentive for me to get better is my own personal, like, getting better at the game. But I'm not really in the mood to do that right now. I want to clear the tier, you know? I want to get better at the game after I clear the tier, because I'm already good enough at the game to clear the tier. Like, I'm already good enough at Pictomancer. I'm more than good enough at Pictomancer to clear the tier, because we can be in a party where I die and I don't get swift raised immediately. I'm dead for like half the burst phase, and then I get up and I get like a gray, and guess what? That gray is more than enough damage to clear, because we clear before the enrage, or we clear during the enrage, or whatever. If there's like a lot of deaths, we clear during the enrage, you know what I mean, right? But I'm saying a lot. Can you tell? Now that I pointed it out. Oh! We're balling. The most disgusting spike jump skip of all time. They really have never done a Knights... they're saying it's the greatest Knights try run of all time. But, like, right now, as far as my personal skill as Pictomancer goes, I'm more than good enough to clear the tier. Like, I hit the whatchamacallit Savage training dummy, where if you don't kill it in 3 minutes, you fail. I killed that comfortably ahead of schedule. And then, you know, in practice, in reality, if I don't die, which I usually die to damage or raid wides that don't get mitigated, then I'm doing, like, the most damage in the instance, unless there's a DPS who's, like, really, really cracked. And shoutouts to the Machinist and my static. She's absolutely killing it. She's getting, like... I think she got, like, a 75 on our last run. Like, that shit's crazy. I knew that was gonna be a failure. Thanks, Heaven. Like, she's absolutely killing it. She's going crazy. Hello? I have an alarm set? I have a timer set? I don't know why I do, but... It just beeped. I don't have any food in the oven. I'm not waiting on anything. Oh, I remember. I'll get into that in a second. But, like, you know, if people from my static aren't around, and if I'm just doing this shit in Party Finder, I'm cracked out of my goddamn mind. You know, I'm doing the most, like, blue Pictomancer. It's one of my favorite comments on Twitter of all time. A Pictomancer slobbering all over their keyboard is doing comparable damage to me, a god tier DPS. It was probably drooling over their keyboard now that I think about it. But I like both. A Pictomancer face rolling over the keyboard, doing more damage than a purple Dragoon. It's the funniest thing of all time, right? Like, it is. Pictomancer needs to get nerfed. I'm saying this as a Pictomancer main. Thank you, Heaven. Really appreciate it. Keep up the good work. But, like, also, if you want to practice to get, like, really, really good at Pictomancer damage, you know, I kind of want to do it in like a farm party or like a for fun clear party where you're clearing every pull and then you're trying to like do more damage than your last pull or whatever, you know, or like a speed kill group or something. Because going into a party finder of people who are never gonna clear that day because they have no idea what they're doing and they've all put it as like, you know, clear party, and they literally can't do the most basic mechanic in the fight that happens multiple times, and they die to it every single time for 10 plus pulls, and you'd never even see like Rotten Heart or Thank You Heaven or anything else. Sheer Heart Attack. That's my favorite name for an enrage, by the way. Sheer Heart Attack. Get it? Because she gives you a shit ton of hearts, and then she heals and gets 16 stacks, and then you die. You get hit by hearts. It's a heart attack, and she's a musician, so it's a music reference. But, the boulder's incoming. Scary. I don't know why I said that. I don't know why. Bro, am I washed? Am I cooked? Like, that environment where the party finder, like, that's all the party finders that I've been in, though. It's, like, just incredibly cursed. Like, people just lying about the progress that they made in the fight. And then just, like, doing terribly. Thank you, Heaven. We're going back home. Right where I belong. I'll give you one more night's try, and then we're out. Then we're out. Then I gotta go, like, wash my hands from the sins that I've committed in this video. Just not being able to get past the goddamn thank you heaven part. That's a mean jump. It's a mean jump. You don't have to deal with that on night mode because you get past it once and then you're good forever. Well, actually, I guess that's not true, you know, because it resets your progress when you log out. I'm just saying, though, that, like, that environment where you're just wiping over and over and over again to the same goddamn mechanic every single time because people don't know what they're doing. Like, you can practice your opener and you can practice your rotation up until that point in the fight, but you're not practicing the whole fight. And the thing about Pictomancer that's really fun for me personally, and I'm sure a lot of other people like it, is how you're basically, like, planning the rest of the fight, right? Because you have to... How Pictomancer works is you have 3 paintings. One of them is for a creature, one of them is for a weapon, and then one of them is for a landscape. And with the creature, you have 3 charges of it, but you have to draw it 2 times to get your creature. And you get, like wing and palm and claw and maw or whatever, like, attacks. But your big heavy hitter is your creature. And you have to draw twice to get the creature, but you can only hold 3 charges. So there's, like, this very fun balancing act of always wanting to have a creature up for your burst phase. My controller, please. But also, you want to have a creature up for your burst phase, but you also need to use creatures and, like, creature attacks during, like, just your filler, because you need to keep your cooldowns rolling, right? And then your weapon cooldown, you have 2 charges, and the creature is like a 40-second. They're actually different cooldowns, too, because the creature goes on cooldown, and the creature weapon goes on cooldown, or, like, the creature attack goes on cooldown, right? So the 4 attacks are Palm and Wing, which make a Moogle, and then Claw and Maw, which make a Medine. Now, I don't know what a Medine is, because this, you know, that's a Final Fantasy reference, but the Medine is the most powerful version. And so, you know, the 4 attacks, they have a cooldown. And then the creatures have a cooldown as well. Do you want your YouTuber to have whimsy in their life? Because that's what whimsy is, gamers. Absolutely insane. Felt like a gnome with a green cloak walking into a mall to harass some workers. That's how much whimsy I was filled with temporarily as we floated up into the goddamn sky. A failed run being turned into a free run. You're goddamn right. So the creatures, you know, they've got like, I think it's like 40 seconds and 30 seconds, but I could be wrong. It could be the other way around. But I think it's like the attacks are 40 seconds and then the creatures are 30 seconds. And then the weapon is 60 seconds, but gives you a very powerful combo attack that you can do with a hammer, which is the funniest shit of all time, by the way. Like, you know, in cartoons, like Saturday morning cartoons, like a character, I don't know why I was gonna say comic book character, but like a character pulls out like a comically sized mallet and then just bashes somebody over the head with this comically oversized mallet. Well, that's literally what Pictomancer does, and it is the funniest shit in the game. It still makes me smile, even though I've been playing Pictomancer since, like, the start of Dawn Trail at this point. It is genuinely so entertaining, and still makes me smile every time, right? It's great. I love it. And then your landscape, that's a 2-minute ambi. That's a... It just pelted, just pancaked into the wall. Not even allowed to step out of cover. I don't know why I'm running towards the bombs. It seems like a bad idea. Not gonna iframe my way out of this one, gamers. And so all the landscape means is it's basically like your... I'm not doing it, don't worry. I know how quickly that one hits. We would have died, 100%. But we're going this way now. When you use the landscape, it gives you like this beautiful painted landscape. It gives you a damage buff, and then it makes your some of, but not all of, your GCDs faster. And it's just really pretty, it's really good, I like it a lot. It's an amazing ability, and it feels very fun to use because it makes your abilities faster, you know? So it's like, it's my burst phase, all my main cyan, yellow, magenta are all faster now. Like, that's awesome. It really is really enjoyable. You know, I absolutely love the thematics, the themes of Pictomancer. It's great. The job's full of whimsy. The job feels great to play. Absolutely love it. That big old platform right there with the silly cone top right there, that's where I've been, by the way. That's where I've been. I've actually been further than that. Like, that big platform right there with the 2 bridges, I've never gotten past that, though. In case you were wondering how far I've made it without you. I think this is fine. This is a little risky, though. Yeah, we're good, we're good, we're good. And you can just full send it, too. You can just full send it. I think you can just full send it. No, you cannot full send it all the way. You cannot full send it all the way, but you could full send it most of the way. And I did not start holding forward fast enough. This should be perfectly fine, though. Wonderful. All right, we made it back to the skeletons. I'm not going to trip and fall before the skeletons. I'm going to trip and fall during the skeletons, but not before them, so don't get it twisted. I do, like, enjoy Savage, right? Like, I really do. But the thing with Pictomancer, and what I was trying to explain with the paintings, right, is you have your 3 paintings that all have those different cooldowns. So, like, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, like, 40 seconds, 30 seconds, 3 charges, 2 charges, 60 seconds to refill them, and then 2 minutes. And then that's not even all of it, though, because you also have your white paint and your black paint. Now, your white paint you don't really care about. You can overcap that if you need to. You don't really have to. The white paint is only for very specific circumstances, or, for the much more useful, monochromatic shift of turning it into black paint. And black paint, so it's wholly in white, which is bad, and then Comet in black, which is amazing, right? And you basically have, like, Is it 5 or 6? I should really know this off the top of my head. I think it's 5? No, I think it's 6. I don't know. It doesn't matter, though, right? Like, because you can only ever have one comet in black, and that's the only thing that matters. You don't care about holy and white. So, oh my god. Almost got shoulder chucked by the homie, you know? There we go. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're wonderful. So it really doesn't matter how many paints you can have capped, because when you would get a black paint, like you convert a white paint into a black paint, right? So if you, whatever action you're taking to get a black paint usually means you're already generating a white paint, or you're fully stacked on white paints already, so it literally doesn't matter. Like, it literally does not matter at all. I was a fool. A buffoon. A bozo. Although I guess it does matter, because if you literally have no resources and you're hitting in rage, then it is better to use your white paint than anything else, because everything else you use builds up resources that you won't have the time to spend, and white paint technically does more damage because it does the same damage as water and blue, but alright. You can also use holy and white for movement, but it's not advised or recommended outside of, like, if you would lose casts, because if you can not lose any uptime and not use holy and white, I don't know how that happened, bro, but it did, then you probably should, because you don't want to use holy and white, because it's technically a overall DPS loss, because everything that you're doing as Pictomancer is building up some sort of resource, right? Because you have a rainbow gauge, which when you get to it, when you can spend them in points of 50, so you can spend it at 50 or 100, and you can go into your subtractive palette, which turns your color palette from red, green, and blue to cyan, yellow, and magenta. And cyan, yellow, and magenta is much more powerful than red, green, and blue. Like fire and red, arrow and green, water and blue are much weaker than cyan, blizzard and cyan, stone and yellow, and lightning and magenta? Yeah, it's lightning and magenta. Now, the trick, though, is that in order to build up rainbow gauge, you have to cast water and blue, which you get from doing your RGB combo, your red, green, blue combo, right? You gotta give yourself the most time possible to work with. You gotta lock the F in, though. And don't troll yourself by hitting these platforms early. You're gonna regret it. So, essentially where this anecdote is going, and what I'm trying to sort of get across from all of this, is that the most enjoyable aspect to playing Pictomancer, for me, I'm dead. I'm dead. I knew I was dead immediately. I was a bad cycle. I was an evil cycle, a rancid cycle, a stinky cycle. The thing that I've been trying to lead to with this whole goddamn thing is that the joy of playing Pictomancer, a big part of it is sort of like planning out your... That was also a bad cycle. I'm getting greedy. I'm getting a little greedy. The joy of playing Pictomancer is all about the idea of sort of like planning the fight out in your head and using your paint appropriately. Beautiful. Perfect. So you're trying to plan the entire fight out and be like, okay, I need this resource now, and then I need this resource later, and when it all comes together, it's really nice. Like, it genuinely is so cool to see. Because what ends up happening is you sort of like, you're basically, and you have a lot of freedom that other jobs don't have. Because as long as you have the necessary amount of resources for what you're trying to do, then you are allowed to do whatever you want, because Pictomancer gives you more resources than you can fit in your burst window. So, literally, what you can do is you have so much freedom in how you play your job, because the stuff that you... like, the stuff that you need for your burst window, you have too much of it. So you can use it, and you have, like, excess that you can use. So there's a lot of, like, not skill expression. Well, there is a lot of skill expression on Pictomancer, but there's a lot of creativity and freedom on Pictomancer, because you can literally, like, decide, okay, this part of the fight, I want to use my extra hammer, and this part of the fight, I want to use my extra creatures, and at this part of the fight, I want to use, like, my cyan, yellow, magenta. So it's like, if there's a lot of movement, then you want to use your hammer, because the hammer is free movement, and it doesn't get interrupted. But if you have a lot of time to sit still, then you want to use your cyan, yellow, magenta, because it's just way more powerful than anything else you have. Whoops, I meant to jump there. It is true. It is true, I did mean to jump there. And it makes Pictomancer, at least in my opinion, one of the most enjoyable jobs in the game to play, because you have so much room to ball and still play your job correctly as long as you fit in the 9 GCDs during your burst window. And I'll admit, I'm kind of bad at doing that. I usually miss either Rainbow Drip or one hammer. Rainbow Drip is another thing, by the way, that's kind of crazy. Whoa, no! My dreams! It's very hectic there, because you have to worry about the scythe, the spiky thing, and then you have to worry about the impending boulder about to crush your skull against the concrete. But I'm sure we'll get it down eventually. I'm sure we'll get it down eventually. These spikes scare me, because that means there's, like, some RNG nightmare where the boulder can roll down the hill, like, gently, you know? And it's like, I don't know if I want to... I don't know if I want to be involved. It rebounds immediately! I mean, that makes sense for how to make the obstacle fair to dodge. We had already succeeded. We didn't have to do anything, but I held back because I was scared. See? That's an analogy for life. You're holding yourself back because you're scared it will fail. But by holding yourself back, you're failing automatically. You're not even trying. You're not even giving yourself a chance to live. How's that for philosophical nights trying? You ever think about that? I don't think you do. No fear. Absolutely none. No fear. Zero fear. Well, we made it back here, like, twice in one episode. That's pretty cool. Now, we don't have many tries on this Tower of Death, and I don't think I'm gonna get up this tower properly, because there's a few places that I know I can die in, including this right here. The hitbox on that is a little bit more janky than you might initially expect it to be. But you've got plenty of time. You got all the time in the world for that jump right there. But this jump right here, you can die. I'm just gonna full send it. I'm not even gonna stop. Oh my god, I just held forward, dude. I just held forward. I wasn't even gonna be like... I was just gonna be like, I'm holding forward. I don't care. Like, I literally don't care. I'm just holding forward, man. Alright. No, dude, the last jump, bro. The last jump before getting the checkpoint. My nerves got to me. I don't know why you have nerves in Night's Try, but I did just hold forward and walk off to my most likely leading to what will be my death. I'm just full sending it. I'm just full sending it. The next jump I make is gonna be through there. I'm just full sending it. It's all RNG, baby. That's fine. That's fine. we made a lot of progress in this episode. I can't really complain. I thought that was really cool. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Webweaver. Hope you had a good day. Even if you're like Plunger and you had another long day at the Long Day Factory, hopefully you can find some solace once you get home and you can relax. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Have a good one. More videos. You could like, you could subscribe, you could do one of those things. You could do both of them. You could maybe even ring that funny little notification bell so that it will let you know that there are more videos in the future. I like to upload every day, but not always. I don't upload every day. I didn't upload when I was recording this. I didn't upload yesterday, so you know, it's a little bit of a thing to maybe pay attention to is that little bell, because it tells you when I upload. Isn't that neat? Anyways, stay safe out there. Have a good one. Bye.